Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are having a fantastic weekend. If you haven't watched the chicken and garden update yet, go do it. There's lots happening, lots of shoots coming out of the ground. The kind you can eat and then leave. I was trying to figure out a way of putting that joke in there and then it just happened. That's kind of the story of my life sometimes anyway. Go and watch Chicken and Garden if you like chickens and gardening and just living in the country. But what I want to talk to you about today is a question that's kind of born out of an experience that happened to me about a week ago now. So a friend of mine who I will not name, let's just say he is a cool cat. He can dance as well as the cat. He was heading to the airport, PDX. And he was, I believe he was running a bit late and he lives a long way out of town and so didn't have time to stop and charge on the way to the airport, but was like, it'll be fine. Portland International Airport has loads of EV charging stations, which it does. It has really good EV charging provision. He arrived to discover that of the charging stations where he was parked, I think three or four of them had people parked in them, in EVs, but they weren't plugged in and they weren't charging. And those EVs were Teslas, which led me to think, well, maybe someone at Tesla isn't educating people about, charging etiquette, or maybe they don't understand the NACS to J1772 adapter, the destination charger adapter thing. And maybe they don't have an adapter to go from a J1772 to a Tesla inlet. And maybe they're running late for the flight and so therefore just went, screw it, no one else will need it. It's just for Teslas. Or maybe they genuinely thought, well, Teslas are the only EVs and therefore these must be for Teslas, but for some reason these are old charging stations and no one uses them anymore, so we'll just park there. Whatever their thought processes, it resulted in my friend not being able to park up and charge. Now, I can corroborate the fact that when I went to help them at the airport, because they kind of reached out and was like, hey, you've got a truck with onboard power. Can you come over and plug my truck in and charge it from your truck? And I was like, yeah, sure, not a problem. Because they knew they were getting low. And it turns out that their vehicle's 12-volt battery was dying and they arrived with a low state of charge. They arrived, I think, with 15 miles of range remaining. But in the first 24 hours or 48 hours of them being parked, their vehicle tried to keep the 12-volt alive and ended up draining the battery pack completely, and then the 12-volt died. So when I actually went and arrived to help them out, I didn't have a 12-volt jumper. I do now. I bought one and put it in my truck. I didn't have a 12-volt jumper, so I couldn't get their car powered up and charging, and they ended up having to have an expensive tow to the service centre where they then had to pay for a replacement 12-volt battery, and it was kind of expensive. But had those people not parked up and just occupied a space, then my friend would have been able to have rocked up with their car or their truck, parked up, plugged in, charged, and when they came back from their work trip a few days later, they would have had a full battery pack and would have been able to have made their way back home. And I have noticed more and more in the EV world, as EVs have gone from being kind of a community-driven, save the planet thing to everyone drives them, that I'm seeing more and more people being inconsiderate at charging stations. I've even seen people park in front of fast chargers with EVs and not plug in. And so the matter of charging station etiquette, and we've talked about this before on this channel, comes to mind. And I want to know, if you see someone being inconsiderate around charging, do you actually speak up and tell them? Are you afraid of speaking up and telling them? I was talking to Em recently and they said that they were at a fast charging station and actually let someone know, hey, you're at like 90 something %. Time to mosey on off. I don't know if that's exactly what they said, but I think they may have kind of dropped hints. We talk a lot about, charge to 80, 90 if you absolutely need it, but you try and move on as quickly as possible. You definitely don't camp out there to get to the full 100%. And some automakers like Volkswagen have made it worse because they've offered people free charging, and EA and other companies just let you charge to 100% if you absolutely need that, because sometimes you really do. But there's definitely a lot more abuse of charging infrastructure happening. There's lots more of people not understanding what charging infrastructure is and how it works, and just parking somewhere because it says EV parking and not actually grokking that it's EV and charging parking. So today I want you to tell me about those inconsiderate sods and how you broach those subjects, because there's a way of doing it that is both educational and pleasant, and there's also a way of doing it in a really terrible way that belittles and does nothing but just make people angry. So tell me about how you go about doing that. Do you actually, someone I know on Facebook who is a Tesla Model S owner, who I've known for years, he makes these little dangly things that you can put over the charge cable if someone is charging beyond their kind of welcome point, or something you can put in their windshield that goes, hey, great to see another EV owner, but just so you're aware, you parked in a space that's reserved exclusively for charging, and it's not considered good to do that. And that's a very non-threatening, non-passive aggressive way of doing it. Some people might look at that and say it's passive aggressive. I look at it and go, if that person is genuinely trying to educate someone else as to why they shouldn't park there, I don't think it's passive aggressive. It would be passive aggressive if they were like, you shouldn't have parked here, you are a terrible person, go away and never do it again. So I'm curious how you handle it. Do you have conversations? Have you had conversations that have gone badly? Have you had conversations that have gone really well, and at the end of it you've both kind of walked away and gone, I'm glad I stopped and talked to that person because they clearly didn't understand. And I know from comments that people are leaving on the main channel that it is super, super, super common for dealerships not to school people on how to look after their cars or how to charge or how to be a good charge station user, whether that's a Tesla or whether that's a Chevy Bolt or a Nissan Leaf or some random new startup that no one's ever heard of. Education is not happening, and it's something that obviously we are very cognizant of at the channel. We're trying to do, but tell me about your successes and failures along all of that in the down below, and as usual I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me today, and if you've got thoughts, make sure you leave them below in our Discord chat room, or you can reach out to us on Mastodon. Thanks to the amazing list of people scrolling by on your screen right now. They are some of the more than 1,500 people who help fund this channel through Patreon and YouTube, covering our bills, paying our team, and making sure we can be 100% independent. If you'd like to join them and see your name listed here, just follow the links below. There are a range of different tiers you can sign up for, from as little as $1 a month, or if you pay yearly, $10.08 a year. A huge welcome to our newest supporters, Doug Hofler, Randy Bayer, and John Furworth. To join the list and get your shout out, become a paid Patreon member for your week of fame. If you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you'll find links below to make Ko-fi and Bitcoin donations, and we even have an old-fashioned PO box you can reach us at, address also below. And if you're in need of some swag, you'll find our swag store in the down below. This month we are celebrating the start of spring with an amazing t-shirt design by our in-house artist and animator Erin. It's all about growing your own EV charging with solar power. Get yours today by heading to our Redbubble store. We've got some great content coming right up, so make sure you're subscribed on PeerTube or YouTube, and we'll see you very soon. We make new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you want more, the mighty algorithm thinks you'll like this video, but we also think that this one is well worth a look. See you soon, and as always, keep evolving.